Welcome to Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. For today's hot take, as I am joined by Austin Brubaker. Austin, the Dodgers just signed Teoscar Hernandez.
Yeah, they just made a big signing last night. It happened a little bit later last night, actually, while you were going live. The Dodgers had a need in the outfield. They have a lineup that is very much left-handed heavy. They needed a batter who can come and really mash against left-handed pitching, and Teoscar Hernandez is that guy who fits that mold almost perfectly to being a lefty masher. You're talking about a guy who has a 136 WRC plus against left-handed pitching throughout his career. Last year was 120 WRC plus during left-handed pitcher. He is also about league average-ish as far as against right-handed pitcher. You're talking about a guy who can mash lefties, who's got a lot of power in his bat, who fits exactly with the need that the Dodgers have. And I think the biggest thing about this deal is the fact that the Dodgers signed him just to a 1-year, $23.5 million contract. That ability to have some future flexibility, whether you want to go after a Randy Arozarena in the future, or whether you want to give a guy like an Andy Pages an opportunity in the future, all of those avenues are still open. And they added power. They added a guy who can kill left-handed pitching. There's a lot to like about this move, getting Teoscar Hernandez.
No doubt about that. So there are pros and cons. The pros would be he hits lefties. You mentioned that. Lots of home runs. He slugs a lot. Great in the clubhouse. I think that's one that is getting overlooked at this point. Teoscar Hernandez is going to be a fan favorite. He has that loosey-goosey, happy-go-lucky mentality to him. Dodgers fans love that. We saw that with Kike Hernandez. I know he's a fan favorite from that. I think that's a pro. So the home runs, he hits lefties. I think his attitude, he's going to be a fan favorite. And then he fits with the Dodgers, at least the formula. You know, we mentioned, Austin, that if you don't go get, first of all, you look for the all-star type player like the Randy Arozarena. If you can't get that guy, then if you have to get, you know, the WAR metrics and the WRC plus numbers would suggest that Teoscar Hernandez last year was an average player, right? So if you go get that type of player, then you're looking more for style and fit. So the style and fit the Dodgers were looking for, home run hitting, right fielder that can hit left-handers, and that is right-handed. So they found the fit, which is why Teoscar Hernandez is a pro. And then also now add the pro, which used to be a con. I thought it was going to be 3, maybe 4 years. It turned into a 1-year deal, $23.5 million. And I think $8 million of that is deferred, which is great because, you know, one of the reasons why I thought he was going to want a 4-year deal is because he's only 4 years away from the 10-year pension. And so this alleviates that because this, in essence, acts as towards kind of a pension after he retires because it is deferred.
Yeah, no, that is a huge benefit. That creates so much flexibility for the Dodgers. It creates another contract type year for Teoscar Hernandez. So you're hoping for the upside with that. And even though Teoscar, he had a little bit of a down year as far as some of his previous highs, but if you look at his numbers for 2021, 2022, you look at WRC plus and the 130 to 140, you're talking about a 4 and then a 2.5 WAR seasons. You're talking about an incredibly valuable player Teoscar Hernandez is that fits exactly with what the need that the Dodgers had. I was looking at some other guys who could be 1-year deals. If you can get Teoscar Hernandez for 1 year, absolutely go after that. Now, that doesn't mean that Teoscar Hernandez is the perfect player. And I think we've addressed some of the concerns with Teoscar Hernandez being some of the walks and strikeout numbers. He doesn't walk a lot. He strikes out a lot. There's going to be some inconsistencies with that, which if you look at some of the numbers from last season, as far as his WRC plus by month, you're looking at a 160 in June, then down to a 46 in July, then a 191 in August, and then a 76 in September and October. There's going to be some up and down into his game inherently. But I think with what the Dodgers needed, they needed a guy who can mash against left-handed pitching. That was their biggest need. He fills a hole in the outfield, and he's not going to be relied upon to be the top hitter in this lineup as well. So I think the Dodgers can deal with some of those inconsistencies that he's going to have because I think the highs are going to be really high. We'll see. the Dodgers still have time to where if they are dealing with a little bit too much of inconsistencies, they could address that later at the trade deadline. But Teoscar Hernandez, no doubt, for 1 year, is an incredible signing for the Dodgers.
No doubt about that. And going to some of the inconsistencies, Austin, I think you would probably agree with this. I think the Dodgers can manage some of those from the simple perspective of, if you look at Jason Hayward, one of the biggest reasons why he had a bounce back year last year is because the Dodgers were able to put him in advantageous positions and advantageous matchups. So you have Chris Taylor, you already have Manny Margot, you already have Jason Hayward and James Outman, right? So you don't have to play Teoscar Hernandez every single inning of every game, and even if it's not a good matchup for him, right? So I think the Dodgers can maximize, they can minimize, maybe the cons of picking up a guy that strikes out as much as he does by putting him in only good matchups for him and rotating your outfield from that perspective.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of mixing and matching. I expect Teoscar Hernandez to be the primary left fielder. I think that's what Jim Bowden tweeted out just a little bit ago. So he's going to get a lot of playing time, but there is also some guys on the bench who are going to need some at-bats. You're going to be dealing with a whole bunch of different matchup possibilities that you have. I think you can put Teoscar in the best position, which is going to be against left-handed pitching. And when he goes up against right-handed pitching, I think he's going to be able to hold his own in that regard as well. So I think, especially for 1 year, Teoscar Hernandez, the perfect fit right now for the Dodgers. You can fit right there with the clubhouse, and he fills a hole that the Dodgers have.
Yep. Also, some of the other factors, if you're looking at, maybe I had the questions asked, do you move a Bush and a Vargas to left field? And as much as we love prospects, that was an unrealistic ask in the simple fact that you have Shohei Ohtani deferring contracts. You have Shohei Ohtani recruiting Tyler Glasnow and Yamamoto and guys like this. The Dodgers were never going to experiment with left field.
Yeah, I don't think they were going to experiment with that. I think honestly, with the position that Bush and Vargas are at, Bush needs to be in the big leagues right now. So I think they're going to be looking for some sort of trade piece, especially if they are looking for help in the bullpen, if they're looking for help in the rotation as well. I think that's going to be something they're going to be looking at, especially because with the addition of Teoscar Hernandez, the roster is now at 41. So now you have to look for perhaps a trade avenue, or you're looking at another situation where you're designating somebody for assignment. Some of the names that will get popped up are like a Gus Varland or like a Ricky Vanasco. Actually, I think the most likely outcome, just looking at fit perspective with the Dodgers, actually probably is Yency Almonte. Yeah. And I say that for one primary reason is the fact that he does not have any minor league options left. And so if the Dodgers especially are looking to add some bullpen pieces, looking to potentially re-sign Ryan Brazier, looking to add a left-handed reliever, I think that might be the most likely outcome. There's going to be some moves. I think the first scenario that the Dodgers are going to look at, try to find some sort of trade with some of the prospects that will be blocked and try to get perhaps another upgrade in the pitching. But I think that is the backup scenario. So a lot of interesting conversations that Teoscar Hernandez brings up, but it is a very exciting day to be a Los Angeles Dodger and to have Teoscar Hernandez just add a lot of depth and a lot of pop, especially against left-handed pitching in your lineup.
Give it a grade.
Oh, man, I would say it's not Randy Arozarena. That would have been an A+. I would give this probably an A-, just because there's some inconsistencies, but he fills exactly with the hole that you need. And it can move up to an A just because of the contract. I think there's very hardly a bad 1 year contract, and I doubt that Teoscar Hernandez is going to be a bad 1 year contract. It does not have any sort of long-term implications on the roster. I really like this signing.
I do too, and I think the fact that it's a 1 year deal and it was the best of what you could have gotten. I don't think Arozarena was realistic at this point. Maybe this time next year, but the Dodgers got the best player in terms of what they needed that was out there for them, and they got him on a 1 year deal. So I think you have to give it an A from that perspective.